You like what you've seen from all three guys?
I really do. I mean, I will answer that part. Obviously, it is the Coach Tomlin question. I think coming out of camp and preseason to have all three of those guys play at the level they played at, like I said it last week, there's plays here and there they'd want back from. You guys were all at practice. There was a bad play, I'm sure everybody talked about. But as a whole, to have all three guys play the way they played throughout the preseason, both camp and in games, we're very pleased with where those guys worked and happy with the way they competed with each other.
Matt, James Daniels said he thought he saw progress in the offensive line in this last game. How about you? Where do you feel your comfort level with them heading into this season?
I'm comfortable with them. We're going to continue to get better and continue to work to put them in a good position to make plays. That falls on me. And there's always going to be things that are going to happen that we're not going to like that everyone's going to talk about. But I'm never going to talk about those things in here. It's going to be getting better and working better. I think we're progressing along. We do have a new group. You look at Mason and James and they're on Chooks, and we got three guys that have played a little, and then we got a couple younger guys on the other side, and there's good plays and bad plays, and we just got to keep gelling together, keep getting better.
Looking at that group, do you anticipate bringing in anyone from the outside to supplement?
That'd be a Coach Tomlin question as well. I don't, but like I said, I'm never going to flinch on the guys we have. I think we've got to play better. No matter when I come in here and what you guys ask, I'm always going to take it, and we're going to get better. And there's plays you guys saw throughout these three games. You can say this wasn't as good as it should have been, and that's your job, and I respect that. But right now, the guys we have up front that are going to be on the team here, sorry, I almost touched somebody's deal there, that are going to be on the team, we're going to go with them, and they're going to play really well, and we're going to find a way to win.
Matt, do you view Chooks strictly as a right tackle, and is it too late in the process to flip him to the left side right now?
I don't view him as just a right tackle. I think Chooks is really, really talented. But I think right now where we are, we feel like gives us the best chance to win today, and that's where we're at. I would never pigeonhole us to say we couldn't do something down the road, but that's right now we're where we are, and we got great faith in where we're at. We're going to keep getting them better.
So that's not an option for you before Cincinnati switching?
I'm not going to say it is an option or it's not. I'm just going to say you asked specifically about Chooks. No, I don't view him. I think he was at left last year in preseason, and we made a decision that we thought it was best for our team to put him at right and put Dan at left. And today, that's where we are right now, and I believe that's the best thing for us today, and that's where we're at.
Matt, have you seen enough of Calvin Austin, or how much has his progress been retired?
We saw a lot, through camp, and we were very, very excited about him. Still excited about him. Disappointed that he got hurt, and as he comes back and is ready to play, we'll get ourselves ready to go with him and see where he's at. Certainly missing those preseason games, is going to slow his growth, because those are chances to see him in the stadium with live, live reps against other competition. So it's disappointing for him that we didn't get to see that. But as soon as he's able to go, we'll get him going and see where we are. But I certainly am excited about him.
Matt, is number 2 running back a Coach Tomlin question also?
Oh, I'm not. We don't have a depth chart out. I'm guessing you guys wouldn't be asking me. So therefore, they're all Coach Tomlin questions. But as far as how I feel about it, I think you look at the guys that played 30-20. Obviously Najee is one. We all know that. I guess I'll give that secret away, right? Najee's one. And then you talk about 30, 24, and 26, and that's kind of the way they went last week. But we've kind of, again, through different positions, we've tried to roll guys at different times with different groups to kind of see how they perform. The last game, Jalen went in there and did a good job early. I think Ant has showed some growth, being able to stay upright. I said that. I forget who I'm talking to all the time with these sessions, but I think Ant staying healthy through camp's been a big deal for him. He didn't have a preseason games year one. Last year he was ready to go and got hurt. And then Benny is Benny. Benny's consistent. He comes in. He's always does what he's supposed to do. We know who he is. So I think all three of those guys have shown that they're capable and ready to go, and we'll continue to work through that to see how we're going to use them at different times to try to maximize each of their potential as we go forward, moving ahead. And who's around and those decisions are Coach Tomlin questions. But as far as the three guys that got the majority of the reps, similar to the quarterbacks, I think they all three showed well for themselves.
Is Connor Hayward going to continue to get looks at fullback, or you still view him as a tight end first?
Well, kind of that position for us is an F. He kind of, whether he's in the backfield or on the wing, we kind of use that guy interchangeably. So we'll just continue to bring Connor along as far as it's a fine line. His talent level, I'm a huge fan of his talent, what he can bring to us, the different options he gives us. But there's a balance of how much we can give him where he can play fast and know what he's doing. And I think that's where we have to look at our football team, who we have today, what's best for the Steelers, what he can do well, and try to put those pieces together. So to answer your question, yes, everything's on the table for him, but where you see him will be more based upon game plan and more based upon what everybody else is doing around him. As he continues to grow, I think we could see him being more multiple, but I think we got to be fair to him and us.
Even though Kenny is a rookie, and what you've seen from him so far, do you feel comfortable enough in him that if you were to have to go in mid-game, you could dress him as the number 2, or because he's a rookie and you do have Mason at your disposal, are you more inclined to have Mason be a dressed number 2 because he's gone in game before? Is there a uniqueness to that?
Some of that question is for later on, but as far as I feel very comfortable with Kenny Pickett in any role. I think he's had a tremendous camp. I think he's shown growth, from day one of rookie mini camp to as we went through, OTAs, and he did some things that looked like a rookie or whatever, and he's still going to be a rookie. But I think he's progressed as well as we would hope that he would. Again, I'm sure there's plays he would want back, but as a whole, he's done a very good job, as all 3 of them have. So
there's no unique attributes coming out of the bullpen versus start.
I don't think so. I think Kenny's shown he can come into a game through these preseason, and I appreciate that it's preseason, not regular season. I appreciate the question and understand, but I think Kenny has shown he's ready to play, and we've been very pleased with where he's at.
Matt,
The quarterback-
what you've seen and what you want to do, what do you like about your offense?
I think we're really, really talented on the outside. I think our skilled players are really, really talented. If we can, obviously we've had some different reasons guys haven't practiced with injuries or, obviously Tay early on. But you look at Tay and Chase and George has come on and played very, very well. And some of the other wideouts have played very well. I think the depth at wideout is something I'm excited about. Pat was a guy, again, that was out. We talk about his ability to make plays at the tight end position is good. And then I always talk about Naj and what he can do. So I'm really excited about that and the versatility it gives us. And we just have to do a good job blending that together. And I am pleased, saying with the way all 3 quarterbacks have played. Obviously, until we start playing real games, it doesn't count. But I think to be standing here today, I don't think we could have. I think it worked the way we wanted it to work. And now Coach has to make a decision, and he'll make that decision, and we'll move forward. But I feel good about where we're at with those guys, and we'll continue to gel up front. And I really like our guys. Feel good about it.
Sorry. Fryermuth averaged 16 yards a catch in the preseason. I think it was 8-something last year. Was it different routes for him than when he ran last year, or is it just the maturation of the play?
I don't think – I said this after week 1. I'd have to really be – there might be one little wrinkle, but I don't think there's any major change you guys have seen routes that we have. We're certainly trying to – that's our job as coaches, to do what our guys do well. So if a guy does something better at tight end than this and that, or maybe back to the Haywood question, Pat's menu's a little bigger because he's more comfortable with some things or whatever that is. I don't think there's anything drastically different, but obviously he's had some big plays, and we're excited about what he can do.
And how important is it to at least try some deep balls down the field, and how do you think Mitch throws the deep ball?
I guess I don't understand the question. You mean like on the seventh play when we threw it down the field to Deontay?
In general, taking shots down the field schematically, what you want to do.
I think we got to. Obviously, we can't be pigeonholed either way. If we're always throwing it short, the defense knows that. And if you're always taking, the risk reward for deep balls is what it is. You guys all know that. If you throw it deep, it's a huge reward. But also, you don't get those. You don't stay ahead of the chains if you don't hit it. So I think. Back to the prior question, I feel really strong about the talent we have on the edge, the plays they can make on the edge, and we're going to try to maximize those guys. And we have to take advantage of what defenses give us. So it's important to have that weapon. If everybody's backing up and afraid we're going to run by them, we got to be able to complete it underneath. And if they're challenges, we got to run by them.
You like Mitch?
Guys, 2 more.
You like how Mitch throws that ball?
Sure. Yeah, I thought again, you look at what he threw. The ball to Tay was pretty good on Sunday down the sideline, and the ball to Pat that you were referencing earlier there, the ball down the middle in the 2-minute drive was a pretty good play. So feel good about it.
Kind of on that note, but more generally, how tough was it, as a play caller in 3 preseason games to walk that line of installing what you want to do and getting those guys, the new quarterbacks, reps in it versus not showing too much that you're going to put out there in the regular season?
I wouldn't say. I mean, I got the greatest job in the world to say it all the time. It was fun. It was really probably the funnest part was as I would meet with each quarterback prior to the game and what they each like. In some cases, like say on 3rd and 4 to 6, they all rank the same. We got 5 or 6 choices. They all ranked it the same. And then sometimes it was he has it at 1, he has it at 6, and so it was kind of fun to see how their personalities come out. So that was enjoyable. Obviously, there was, I'm not saying, again, I loved it, but there was when Mitch was in, I did this. When Mason was in, I did this. When Kenny was in, I tried within still the encompassing our offense and what we're going to do. So it was enjoyable, and again, I think those guys did a great job of playing well, and we did a good job getting them where we are now with a long, long way to go. But for the progress so far, we're happy.
One more.
Matt, you feel like you got the talent outside, you can challenge one-on-one coverage when
Yeah.
you care to?
Sure. I think you look at the guys we have out there, I feel good about that, and we've got but it's still, we had a real good meeting this morning, those things, but offensive football is 11 guys doing their job, and every play is the play, and you can't have one play where this happens and I didn't quite get it. So those guys can win on the outside, but if we don't call the right play, protect it the right way, throw the right ball, it won't matter, and vice versa if everybody does that and we don't win. So I think that's the final goal every play is to have 11 men do their job and then find success after that.
All right, we'll bring TA in.
You have any clarity at inside linebacker?
The only clarity we have is we have 3 guys that can play. We'll determine their playing time as we get going, but I think you'll see all of them on the field.
Teryl, there's a report out that you guys are requiring Malik Reed, linebacker.
No idea. I was just on the field. I have no idea.
Inside guy or outside guy?
He's an outside guy, but as far as requirement, I don't know. I was just out there. So
Whether or not you guys did require him, just how important is it to have depth behind TJ and Alex Highsmith, especially with Alex being kind of unavailable through the late stages of training camp?
well, I think it's important that you have a guy to have some depth because those guys can't play every snap. And the way they play, the physicality in which they play with, and the effort and energy. So you have to have a third guy, and a lot of times we'll get a fourth guy. Fourth guy will maybe get 10 snaps a game. So it's important to have depth, especially at that position, because at the end of games when you need somebody to rush the passer and try to end the game, those are the guys that get it done.
Teryl, how does Kazi's injury affect you, what you may have wanted to do schematically? Have to be pulled back a little bit, what you wanted to do?
No, we're going to do what we have to do. We know it's a next man up principle here, and so we'll find somebody else to fill that job. However we do it, it might be with another safety, it might be with another body, and it might be with a corner. I don't know how we'll do it, but we'll fill that role, and we'll fill those that stuff we need to get done with someone else.
Do you look at Trey Norwood as a strong option?
He's an option. Yeah, absolutely, he's an option, but there's other things as well. Not exactly sure how that's going to play out this week, but I think he is definitely a guy that we would consider. He's played some football for us, especially on some third down and some different things, and done a good job. So he'll be in the mix there.
Have you guys determined whether you might get KZ back at some point?
No, I have no idea. Doctors haven't said, and we'll see. We're wait and see.
Teryl, how is Alex progressing, and do you expect to have him and TJ ready for September 11th?
I hope so. He's been coming along well. He's out there doing walkthroughs and doing some stuff. So I assume the doctors will let us know if he's ready, and I haven't heard anything that tells me that there's any setbacks. So we'll just see how that goes. But I'm looking forward to him being out there with TJ on the 11th.
Cam Hayward said that there should be more protections for defensive players after that low block from Hawkins. And what are your thoughts on that after TJ kind of went down with that knee injury?
We have to play with the rules that are there. We can't complain about them and bitch and moan about them. That's something we can't control. We know what they are, and we have to play within them, and that's what we'll do.
So speaking of Watt, he was asked a couple times in training camp from various outlets, essentially, what do you do for an encore? What do you do to build on Defensive Player of the Year last year? And I think basically every time he just said Super Bowl. But how does his individual success, what can he do from that position to translate into even more team success? What are the things about his outside linebacker position that he can do better to translate to team success?
Well, you're asking about a guy that was Defensive Player of the Year, and so I'm sure there's things he can do better individually that he wants to do better, probably some technique things he might want to work on. But I think for what he brings to the team, if he continues to do what he's doing in that area, we're going to be fine. And I think the biggest thing I take out of that is that he wants to win a Super Bowl. All the individual stuff, they're great, it's great, but in this team game, winning the Super Bowl is the ultimate prize, and I think that's really what he wants now.
You mentioned 3 inside linebackers who can play right now and will play. What does Mark Robinson have to do as a young guy to kind of gain that trust to get a chance to get out there and be part of it as well?
I think as a young guy, the biggest thing that happens with those guys is they have a lot of want to, but they don't have a lot of skill and repetition at their position to be effective in this league. And so until he gets all of that he'll continue to develop on special teams and doing some stuff like that. But he's, I think that's really it. It's just going to be repetitions and getting skill development, at his position and really learning his position and how it's played here in the NFL.
You see some of the traits in him that you can't teach, that you don't want to have to instill a guy when you talk about that aggression and activity.
Absolutely. Mike always says, I'd rather say whoa than sick 'em, and he's got a lot of sick 'em in him.
What do you like about the way your cornerback rotations kind of worked out with the way you've used the three guys, the three starters?
I like how they work together. Three really smart guys, so they communicate well. I thought last week they did a really good job in terms of the crack replace. We challenged them in terms of crack replace football and tackling backs when they came through there, and they did a good job. I think those guys know how to rise to a challenge. I think they understand the defense and where their success is going to come and how they can put themselves in good positions. So I like how they work together. So I'm excited about those three. Really enjoy working with them.
I'm not sure how you were using Casey was reflective of a desire to get Minka to be able to ball hunt a little bit more often, and do you have a guy that can fulfill that role?
Well, I think it wasn't a desire to get Minka to ball hunt. It was a desire to get a really good football player on the field. I think Casey's a good football player, and that's really what it was, to try to get your best players and put them in position to make some good plays. Obviously, the added bonus of that was Minka. It freed Minka up a little bit more. But like I said, we'll figure out what we have to do and who we need to get to do some of that role. But right now, that's just that's still under discussion.
Do you need to free Minka up a little more?
He looks good when he's freed up.
Teryl, what have you seen from your defense against the run? In this preseason, do you feel confident that's going to be improved?
I thought we were better this past week. Obviously the long draw play was terrible football, terrible coaching, terrible playing. That was just a terrible play. But I was really impressed with how our guys attacked the run, got off of blocks, played downhill, and that's the way we have to do. We have to continue to improve that. So I thought, as I look at it from start to finish, when you end the preseason and you play the run that way, I thought that was a good sign.
What do you expect from Loudon in year two? What have you seen from him so far?
Well, he's one of the guys that hasn't been getting a lot of work right now in practice. But what I saw early from him was a guy that looked like he was in his second year. He was developing the skills necessary to play. He was understanding. He's bigger, stronger, and so I was expecting to see some real growth. And right now we'll just have to wait and see. He got sidetracked a little bit, but I'm still expecting once he gets back that we can see the growth that we had started to see early.
Mike said
It's the next last one. That's okay.
Mike said on a number of occasions during the early process that he was getting to learn Larry. Over the past 4 weeks, 5 weeks, what have you learned from Larry?
That Larry's a big, strong man. And, it's you all right? Okay. That Larry's a big, strong guy, and Larry's a good football player. Still working his way back from his off-season injury. But really a quality football player, and I'm glad we got him. So I think the thing I've learned is he's very strong. We've got very, very good football sense, very aware. Didn't like the fact that, he lined up all sides, but that's something that could be corrected. But the other stuff, the strength and the ability to get to the ball, that's good. Those are good things. Those are good qualities that he has.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, guys.